At the beginning of the movie, a woman narrates that the locals have believed in spirits for ages, perhaps even before religion existed. However, the meaning of spirits for the Isar people is not quite the same as it is for most. For them, anything that goes beyond nature is considered a spirit, not just the souls of the dead. They believe spirits exist in everything. In houses, forests, mountains, trees, and rice fields. In 2018, a documentary team traveled all over Thailand to study the lives of shamans. After interviewing many shamans, the team decided to study the life of Nim, the shaman of goddess Bayan. Nim continues, explaining that for the Isar people, there are many types of spirits. Some are benevolent, offering protection, while others are malevolent, bringing sickness and misfortune. When the interviewer asks about the spirit within her, she replies that she serves as the shaman for the goddess Bayan. She explains that Bayan is an ancestral spirit who has protected the villages for generations. No one knows exactly who she is or where she came from, but the people have continued to honor and pay respect to her for countless years. Nim explains that her grandmother first served as Bayan's medium, then her aunt after her, and when her aunt died, the role was meant for Nim's sister, Noi, but she refused. So Bayan chose her instead. The interviewer asks if she can treat every illness, and Nim replies that she can only heal problems caused by the unseen, like black magic or spirits. For other illnesses, such as cancer, she tells people to see a doctor. Nim says she never wanted to be a shaman. She was often sick and couldn't recover, and the pain grew so unbearable that she even thought of ending her life, but she failed. So in the end, she gave in and accepted Bayan. On the way to her sister, Noi's husband Viroj's funeral, Nim reflects on how the men in the Yasantia family all seem fated to die tragically. Viroj's grandfather was stoned to death. His father burned down his own factory for insurance money, but poisoned himself when he was caught. And his eldest son, Mac, died in a motorcycle accident. Now, Viroj himself has succumbed to cancer. At the funeral, Nim asks Mink, "How is she?" saying her mom told her she was the first one to find his body, and Mink says she is okay. Nim explains that her family has 3 siblings, Manit, the eldest, Noi, the middle child, and herself, the youngest. Noi is now left with Mink, her only daughter. Manit says that his sisters don't get along very well, and have been at odds for as long as he can remember. He has tried to talk to them, hoping they would reconcile and make peace, but without success. Later, Mink tells Nim that Noi wants her to collect some items from their house, and she has written where to find them. After Mink leaves, Nim feels a strange sensation on her arm where Mink touched her. Nim brings all the items and hands them to Noi. After checking through them, Noi points out that she brought the wrong cloth, to which Nim asks, "Then why don't you go get it yourself?" They then see Mink arguing furiously with a man, shouting at him to stop speaking badly about her. Others try to explain that no one said anything, but Mink insists that he cursed at her, prompting Nim and Noi to quickly step in to pull them apart. Later, Nim asks Pang if Mink drinks often, to which she admits she knew Mink drank, but didn't expect this much or such a scene. When Nim returns inside, she sees Mink sitting motionless, eyes locked on an old woman. Time stretches, every second sharp and heavy, until the old woman slowly begins to drift away, and Mink lies down to sleep. The next morning, Nim finds out that the blind old woman has died. Her eyes dart around and there's Mink, standing unnervingly still. Nim calls out, but Mink only turns around and begins to walk away. Nim chases after her, calling out to her until she finds Mink frozen in front of a door, acting strangely. A few days later, Nim returns to Noi's house and goes straight to Mink's room. Noi asks what she's doing and why she's going through Mink's belongings, but she gets shocked when Nim finds turmeric hidden in Mink's closet. Mink asks if she knows what it is, but at that moment, Mink appears and angrily tells them both to get out. Nim asks Noi if she knows what the turmeric is for and urges her to tell her if Mink shows any strange symptoms, to which Noi thinks for a moment, then replies, "Mink is my daughter, and I can take care of her, so you should leave. When asked about the turmeric in Mink's closet, Nim explains it's called Pa Taba, believed to protect against spirits and evil forces. The team went over the footage and found Mink showing some strange behavior. They ask Nim what Mink's recent symptoms might mean, and she says they could indicate several things. When asked if Bayan will move to Mink, Nim admits she doesn't know. The team comes up with an idea. If a shaman's inheritance is real, they might be able to capture its manifestation on film. They decide to record Mink and her family as well. They ask Mink about her job, and she explains that she works at the recruitment center, where she spends the day assigning tasks to people. They then ask how she feels about shamans, and she replies that it's nonsense, saying they randomly perform strange dance moves. Later, they ask Noi about Bayan trying to enter her. She recalls being in her 20s, suffering from shaman fever with daily periods for 5 months. Her aunt advised an acceptance ceremony, but she refused, converted to Christianity, and prayed not to become a shaman. But something happened to Nim. While studying dressmaking in the city, Nim suddenly fainted and blacked out for unknown reasons. She was brought home, and Bayan entered her instead. Looking back, Noi admits feeling guilty for Nim taking her place. When asked what would happen if Bayan moved to Mink, she snaps that they should stop asking stupid questions and stop filming. The next day, they record Mink trying on a pair of children's shoes, clearly enjoying herself. That night, they ask Lisa if she has noticed Mink acting strangely lately, and Lisa replies that it feels like Mink is faking it, like she isn't really herself. She shows them a video of Mink behaving exactly like a child, playing in a kid's play area. In the video, Mink even gets angry at some children and pushes a little girl. Later, while walking alone through a market, Mink asks the cameraman not to film her all the time. Afterward, she goes to the recruitment center and lies down on a couch, where she gets a call from Lisa, who accuses her of ditching her to go off with some guy again. But Mink doesn't respond and simply throws her phone aside. The next morning, when the other employees arrive at the office, they find Mink asleep and try to wake her, asking why she's lying there. When Mink finally stands, everyone stares at her in shock and confusion, and it becomes horrifyingly clear that she is bleeding from her vagina. Mink rushes to the washroom, desperately trying to clean herself, and when she notices that she's being recorded, she quickly slams the door shut. At home, Noi asks Mink where she slept last night and tells her it's time to stop drinking, but Mink ignores her and heads to her room, insisting it's just her period. Noi meets with Manit and tells him everything, and he suggests that she must have Nim perform the acceptance ceremony for Mink. Noi reminds him that she doesn't want her child to become a shaman, but Manit replies, "If Bayan truly wants Mink, what can you do?" The next day, Nim visits Noi's house looking for her beaded bracelet, saying it may have fallen while collecting Noi's things. Manit asks where she went, and Nim says she went to Noi's room to get her scarf. As Noi leaves to check her room, Nim and Manit rush to Mink's room and knock on her door, and when she comes out, Nim asks her if she has heard anyone calling her, and if she answered. Noi interrupts, demanding to know what's going on, and Manit says it's just small talk. Later, Noi tells the interviewer that Nim wants Mink to take her place as a shaman, since she doesn't have any children. But no matter what, she will never allow her child to become a shaman. Mink tells them that she's been having severe headaches, along with stomach, back, and sharp pains in her private parts. The doctor has examined her but can't find the cause. They ask if Mink has strange dreams, and she says almost every night she dreams of a huge man in a red loincloth and talisman-covered vest, wielding a sword, stomping, and licking blood from it. The floor is soaked with blood and a decapitated head that tries to speak, but no sound comes out. The next day, we see Mink in her boss's office, visibly furious after being fired. Later, while getting ready for the parade, Mink feels something is wrong with her teeth. She starts scratching at a tooth with her nail, and gradually scratches it so much that it begins to bleed. After a while, her makeup artist calls out to her, snapping Mink out of her trance, and realizing what she has done. She quickly grabs some tissues to clean the blood before getting up and running away. That night, during the parade, Mink's family and friends call out to her and wave. but she ignores them, lost in her own thoughts. After a while, her behavior becomes aggressive, and she starts throwing toffees and chocolates at the people around her. The next day, Mink returns to her office, but her boss calls out the security to get her out of there. The boss tells the interviewer that items have gone missing from their office, so he checked the CCTV footage. He shows them the video, which reveals Mink having sex in the office. Next, we see Noi in the church, praying for her daughter, while Nim is in the forest, praying to Bayan. When Noi returns home, she knocks on the bathroom door, asking if Mink is taking a shower, but finding the door open, she enters and is horrified to discover that Mink has attempted to take her own life. At the hospital, Noi finally agrees to let Mink undergo the acceptance ceremony, but Nim refuses. When Noi asks why, Nim says what has taken hold of Mink isn't Bayan. Noi argues the symptoms are the same and might vanish if Mink accepts, but Nim insists she can't allow it. Later, Nim enters Mink's room, where, touching the photos pasted on the closet, she remarks that she knows Mink and Mac had something going on. She then asks Manit if he knows what becomes of the soul of someone who kills themselves, before demanding that he tell her where Mac killed himself. Manit takes her to the tree where Mac hanged himself. The team agrees with Nim's judgment, believing that Mink is possessed by something else. Nim prays in front of the tree, and soon after, a strong wind begins to blow. After finishing her prayers, she addresses Mac, asking, all of this is his doing? And then says she knows he loved her, but he can't take her. At the same time, Noi takes Mink to a shaman and tells Manit to get the stuff and come upstairs. But as they leave, Manit informs Nim. Next, we see a shaman performing a ritual on Mink, when Nim suddenly storms in, shouting for them to stop immediately. She asks, Noi, how can you allow a random ceremony like this? And Noi argues that she hasn't helped them, but Nim insists that she has her own way of dealing with things. Just then, Mink snatches the camera and attacks Noi with it, knocking her to the ground. Suddenly, Mink freezes in place, standing motionless for a moment, before abruptly running away. Nim immediately chases after her, but by the time she reaches the road, Mink has vanished. They all rush into the forest, calling out for Mink, their voices echoing through the trees, but she's nowhere to be found. The next day, Nim says the only way to find Mink is to hold a ceremony. But first, Noi must open her heart, accept Bayan, and beg for her forgiveness. They then return home and tell them that they have to collect every disgusting thing Mink hoarded, every cursed object, because they carry the traces of the spirits Mink has come in contact with. Nim prepares for the ceremony at the spot where Mac took his own life. Methodically, she rolls an egg over all the collected items and breaks it, but it comes out completely normal. She repeats the process once more, again, nothing. Admitting she doesn't know how long it will take, she vows to keep praying until she finds where Mac has taken Mink. The next day, Manit and Noi rush to the police station, where an officer tells them that a taxi driver handed over a dashcam clip to the police. He shows them the footage in which Mink silently gets out of the taxi and starts walking straight ahead. Confused, the driver decides to leave, but as he turns the car, he is horrified to see Mink standing on the other side of the road. Later, Nim continues trying desperately to connect with Mac, but she fails repeatedly. Manit yells at the police station, saying that a month has already passed, yet they haven't received any news. Meanwhile, Nim continues her ritual, and this time, the egg comes out black. She quickly leaves, saying she's been tricked all along, and that it was done by those with no connection to Mac. She makes her way to an old factory, the ruins of Viroge's father's business. A strange, unsettling energy hangs in the air, and she finds dead pigeons littering the floor. Pushing forward, she finds Mink unconscious in a pile of garbage, and horror grips her as she realizes her condition is far worse than expected. At the hospital, the doctor tells them that the patient is stable, but appears malnourished. Noi asks if her daughter will ever return to normal, and the doctor replies that once the patient regains consciousness, they will reassess her symptoms. Nim says that things are finally becoming clearer, and it's fortunate that Mink wasn't killed. She adds that she must return to the mountain once more, to pray and plead with Bayan again. Later, when Nim returns to the mountain, a blood-curdling scream tears from her throat, echoing through the trees, and she stumbles forward in panic. There, in the clearing, it's revealed that the sacred idol of Bayan has been destroyed by someone. Meanwhile, Noi asks Mink where she went and what she has been doing. She tries to feed her, but from Mink's vacant stare and strange behavior, it's clear she is not in her senses. Just then, Mink sees Nim entering, and she furiously jumps down from the bed. Nim asks, "Who are you?" But Mink only growls in response. Nim repeats the question, and this time Mink bursts into maniacal laughter before declaring, "I am Bayan." When Nim presses her again, Mink sneers, "Why don't you guess?" Before Nim can ask further, Mink suddenly tears her t-shirt, and in an instant, she grabs Manet's hand and forces it onto her chest. She then touches herself and then smears her hand on his mouth, taunting, "Don't you like young girls?" She then shoves him onto the bed and begins kissing him, forcing Nim and Noi to rush forward and drag her back. Nim quickly fetches a sacred thread and wraps it around her head, while Manet dips her finger into a glass of water. Mink screams in agony, but soon her cries twist into eerie laughter. Staring at Nim, she hisses, "Do you know why you're like this? It's because of your beloved sister. She dressed you in her clothes every day, hid talismans in your shoes, and did everything she could to make you the shaman in her place." Mink then lets out another piercing scream, and as the glass shatters, Nim forces her fingers into Mink's mouth, causing her to vomit a thick black liquid, but Mink only growls. Nim orders the others to tie her up, and they quickly grab an extension cord and bind her hands to the bed. Once secured, Nim turns to the others and instructs them to leave the room. Outside, Nim says she must find someone who can help, and when Noi apologizes for what Mink just said, Nim replies she'll help her anyway. The scene shifts to a place where a shaman named Santi is performing rituals to drive out evil spirits from the possessed. They bring Mink there, but seeing them, a chilling smile spreads across her face. Santi checks on Mink, placing his hand on her head, and asks if they had taken her to some random acceptance ceremony. Rising to his feet, he says Mink is possessed by multiple spirits, and impossible to count them. But he can say that they are all in it together because they are vengeful. Nim leads him to the factory, where he explains that vengeance has drawn in countless wandering spirits, even animals, insects, and plants, merging into one powerful, malevolent demon. She shows him where she found Mink, and Santi says the ceremony must be held there, at the source, because if they banish the spirits, Mink will be freed as well. Noi asks, "Why does it have to be Mink?" And he responds by asking if she knows about her husband's family ancestors. He reveals that Wiroj's ancestors had beheaded thousands of people, and the dying victims' last wishes were to curse the family. Their children and descendants continued to accumulate bad karma, and Wiroj married her, the very one who had rejected Bayan. From that moment, everything was destined, and the one who has to pay for redemption is Mink. Santi and Nim perform rituals for days. He explains that the more dangerous the spirits, the greater the preparation, consecrating talismans, a sacred wand, holy water, candles, and incense. Most importantly, the ceremony must be done with Nim, united and strong. Though experienced, he admits, "Let's see how tough these demons really are." Noi says Mink won't eat anything, and when she tries to talk to her, Mink isn't receptive. She admits she's really stressed, especially since Nim hasn't come either, as she's been busy with the ceremony preparations. Noi also mentions that every morning when she comes downstairs, the house is a total mess. The team decided to install cameras inside the house to observe Mink's behavior at night. 6 days before the ceremony, Mink comes out of her room at night and starts throwing household items, tossing them everywhere. As she wreaks havoc throughout the house, their dog Lucky comes out. Mink notices him, turns toward him, and approaches, but Lucky barks as she tries to pick him up. Hearing its barks, Noi calls out to him, and Mink immediately dashes back to her room. Later, she reappears, moving on all fours like a wild animal. She scrambles onto the table, crouches there with a predator's stare, and then she urinates. After a while, she climbs down from the table and walks out of frame, only to suddenly lunge straight at the camera, knocking it over with a loud crash as it hits the floor. 5 days before the ceremony, Mink is seen opening the refrigerator, still acting like a wild animal. She snatches a packet of raw meat, tears it from the packaging with her teeth, and begins devouring it with feral hunger. After a while, she is seen climbing up the stairs, disappearing from view, but suddenly returns with something in her mouth that resembles underwear. 4 days before the ceremony, Mink is seen sniffing Nim, her movements low and deliberate, before she climbs on top of her, and she stays there for a while, staring with a cold, unblinking intensity. 3 days before the ceremony, Manit says no more filming if cameras are everywhere, but a team member begs him to watch till the end. He shows them the footage, and they are horrified to see Mink's actions at night. Noi says she admits it looks terrifying, but she is still her child, and it won't be long before she gets better. After seeing Mink's behavior, the family members allowed the team to install more cameras. That night, when Pang leaves the bathroom after showering and goes upstairs towards her room, Mink is revealed hiding under the stairs. She emerges slowly, staring directly at the camera, her gaze cold and unblinking. Later, she drifts into Manit's room like a shadow. She climbs onto the bed and leans close to Pang, sniffing deeply, as if memorizing her scent. She lies down beside her, her eyes fixed on nothing, and then her hand traces Pang's stomach. Pang suddenly wakes up in pain, clutching her stomach. And when Manit checks on her and their child, Mink is seen hiding beside a closet, laughing eerily as she watches their distress. 2 days before the ceremony, Manit installs a hatch on the door to Mink's room and tells Noi that she won't be able to get out anymore. That night, when Manit returns home, he finds a pot sitting in the living room. Confused, he edges closer, each step heavier than the last, and to his horror, he finds dismembered pieces of their dog, Lucky, in it. He bolts to Mink's room, but the door is open and she's gone. Manit rushes to the team to check the CCTV footage, and the video shows Mink bringing Lucky to the kitchen, and she puts him into a pot of boiling water. She puts the lid onto the pot, and Lucky's frantic thrashing continues beneath it before the struggle ceases and death takes him. They switch the feed to live view, and their stomachs twist in horror when they see Mink tearing Lucky's pieces into her mouth, as if savoring every bite. Her eyes never leave the camera, cold and unblinking, as if daring them to look away. After this, she starts walking toward the stairs, and Manit watches in horror as she opens his room door, where Pang and their child Pong are sleeping. Mink picks up the child, and Manit screams, his voice cracking, and bolts toward the house. Stumbling up the stairs, he bursts into the room, only to see the nightmare confirmed. Mink is gone, and with her, Pong. Panic surges through them, and they all burst out, frantically searching for Mink and Pong. Their shouts echo, hearts hammering, but no trace of them appears anywhere. Just as despair begins to tighten its grip, Manit suddenly stops seeing Pong lying on the floor. His chest seizes, and he darts forward, scooping him up with trembling hands. Relief floods through him as he sees Pong safe. Moments later, Pang arrives, and Manit hands Pong over to her. He rushes forward, anger driving him, searching for Mink, and after a while, he hears horrifying crying echoing around him, gradually growing louder. Terrified, Manit scans his surroundings and spots a cow in the bushes. As fear grips him, he continues looking, and suddenly Mink appears in front of the camera. She lunges at Manit with a knife, knocking both him and the cameraman to the ground. The cameraman scrambles to his feet, just as Noi and another team member step in to help, pulling Mink away. 1 day before the ceremony, Noi arrives at Nim's house, but there's no response, and she doesn't even open the door. The neighbor breaks the door open, and Noi rushes inside, calling out for Nim. She hurries upstairs and, to her horror, finds the shrine destroyed, with tons of maggots crawling across the floor. Panic rising, she rushes to Nim's bedroom, only to find her lying on the bed. She shakes her, asking why she is sleeping like this. but the horrifying truth sinks in. Nim is dead. Nim died in her sleep, a phenomenon the Isar people call Lai Tai, and doctors were unable to determine the cause of her death. The next day, at Nim's cremation ceremony, Noi says her sister's death and Mink's condition are her fault. Feeling she has no family left, she vows to protect her daughter at any cost, even with her life. Day of the ceremony, they bring Mink to the site, and Santi tells them that no one will be allowed to leave the area until the ceremony is complete. Finally, the ritual begins. Santi and a few of his followers gather on the 5th floor, their voices low and rhythmic as they chant the prayers. Outside, others move silently, performing their tasks with unsettling precision. Santi attempts to summon the evil spirits by holding the severed buffalo head. Gradually, the ritual takes on a terrifying form, and after a while, strong wind begins to blow through the area. Santi rushes behind Mink and commands the spirits to come and enter her. Suddenly, a loud scream echoes from Mink's room, and it is revealed that she is locked inside, secured with talismans. Pang asks, "Why did she scream?" And the man nearby replies, "I don't know." Meanwhile, the woman, her face covered with a cloth, begins bleeding from every orifice. Santi utters words in a foreign language before hitting her with a wand on her head. And as he removes the mask, her face is revealed to Noi. Noi then vomits a black liquid into a pot before collapsing to the floor. Manik rushes to check on her, and Santi reassures him, saying she has just blacked out and should be taken to rest. At the same time, Pang and that man hear a child crying from inside the room. Pang rushes to the crib, but finds her son gone. She begs the man to open the door, insisting he's inside, but he refuses, saying he just saw the baby in the crib. Meanwhile, Santi continues the ceremony, and the evil spirits trapped in the pot struggle to escape, causing it to shake violently. Pang desperately tries to reach the door, saying her son is inside, but the cameraman shows that Pong is in his crib. Desperate to save her child, Pang hits the man with a flower pot, and as she opens the door, the pot stops shaking. Santi signals everyone to stop and removes the thread from his head. He picks up the pot, stands up, and moves forward. Taking it outside, he stops in one spot, and when a man asks why he stopped, Santi doesn't respond, seeming almost out of his senses, and suddenly, the lights go out, plunging the area into darkness. The cameraman turns on his light, revealing Santi crying with his head bowed. He slowly turns toward them, and his expression twists into a maniacal laugh. It appears as though countless souls have entered his body, and before anyone can react, he leaps down from where he stands. Meanwhile, Pang asks Mink, "Where is Pong?" But Mink does not answer. Instead, she slowly, unnervingly, rises from her place, and as she turns, it's revealed that Mink was the one making Pong's voice all along. Suddenly, she lunges and plunges a shard of glass into Pang's neck, who gasps, blood spilling warm and sticky across her skin. The cameraman and the other man try to flee, but Mink suddenly comes out of the room. The cameraman turns and dives into the bathroom, slamming the door shut while outside. Mink kills the other man. Meanwhile, the cameraman looks down, and his blood runs cold, seeing Santi lying sprawled on the floor, his body mutilated in a way that no human hand could achieve. Just then, the lights go off, and the scene shifts outside, where the remaining team members are panicked to find that Santi's men have vanished without a trace. As they scan the area, they spot a man and ask where everyone else is, but suddenly, the man's neck bends. His teammate warns, "Let's get out of here." However, as they turn to leave, a noise catches their attention, and they see the man on the ground, who suddenly lunges at one of them and bites into his shoulder, tearing flesh. Panicked, the other team member runs for his life, but suddenly his camera light goes out, so he quickly switches to night mode. Meanwhile, the cameraman steps out of the bathroom and finds the dead body of the man lying on the floor. Suddenly, he hears a noise and, to his horror, sees Mink devouring Pong. Terrified, he quickly retreats to his hiding spot, but soon hears Mink creeping toward the bathroom. He switches his camera to night mode and points it at the door. Just as Mink shoves the door open, her body contorts unnaturally as she crawls toward him, and his cries echo in the suffocating silence. Back at the factory, Noi regains consciousness and tells Manit that she can feel Bayan is here with her to help her. Manit helps her stand up, and she turns to Santi's men, declaring that the ceremony must be continued. She instructs them to fetch the potsherd so they can perform the spellbinding ritual once again. Outside, the cameraman flees from a possessed man, but another suddenly blocks his path, sending him crashing to the ground. They drag him away and viciously attack, tearing chunks of flesh from his body as he screams in agony. Desperate, he grabs a stone and strikes back, managing to break free and flee. But his escape is short-lived as he stumbles and falls once more. Quickly snatching up his camera, he turns around, only to see the possessed men closing in on him again. But then, they all stop. Their expressions twist with fear, and they begin retreating as though terrified of someone's presence. The cameraman slowly turns his lens, and there she is. Mink approaches, her eyes glinting unnaturally. She leans in and whispers, "Can I film you instead?" Before he can react, she snatches the camera, turning it on him and revealing his stomach ripped wide open. Meanwhile, Noi collects everyone's incense sticks and extinguishes them. Shocked, everyone wonders why she did that, but only then does one of them slam his head violently against the wall. Around him, the others begin convulsing and moving strangely, as if possessed, Manit among them. The air grows heavy with dread as their twisted movements fill the room. Suddenly, Manit turns toward the cameraman and pounces on him, savagely tearing the flesh from his chest. Manit then lifts his head, his eyes locking onto the other cameraman, but he stands up, abruptly bolts toward a window, and climbs onto the ledge. The cameraman tries to stop him, but Manit jumps out of the window. Terrified, the cameraman bolts for an escape, but as he spots Mink and the rest of the possessed figures crawling up the stairs, he turns to run the other way and switches off the lights of his camera, plunging him into darkness. Once inside, he switches his camera to night vision, letting him see everything clearly while the darkness keeps him hidden from their sight. Noi commands the evil spirit to release her daughter's body, declaring that it must surrender to the mighty power of Bayan. She begins chanting incantations, but suddenly Mink calls out, "Mom!" Noi falters, her voice breaking as she asks if it is truly her. But we see that Mink is still possessed, and she lunges forward, hands clamping tightly around Noi's throat. As she strangles her, guttural chants spill from her lips until she hurls her to the ground. She then whispers something, and soon the same whispering begins to echo through the air, though the cameraman can't see anyone around him. Suddenly, he sees Mink coming toward him. But Noi clutches her leg and desperately begs for her daughter back. But an unseen force yanks her arm backward, and Noi gasps as countless footprints appear around her. Mink then seizes a can of gasoline as Noi desperately asks if she can hear her. But ignoring the plea, Mink begins dousing her with the liquid. Noi breaks down, begging her not to do this, but Mink strikes a match. Yet instead of setting Noi alight, she suddenly turns toward the cameraman and flicks the match away. Without warning, she charges at him, tearing into him with feral brutality until she rips him apart, ending his screams in a spray of blood. Next, Noi's voice trembles as she pleads with Mink, begging her not to do this. But Mink sets her on fire, and screams echo through the building, filling it with a haunting cry. In the midst of the fire, a voodoo doll is revealed, its surface marked with a single name, Yasantia. Nim's last interview. They ask her what just happened in front of the altar, and she replies that she was only thinking about the day of the ceremony because she doesn't know what will happen. They ask, "Are there any problems with the preparations?" To which she hesitates, saying it might mean nothing at all. When they ask what she means, she admits, almost reluctantly, that she was never truly certain if Bayan had possessed her in the first place. Confused, they question her again, but she simply says she doesn't know anymore before quietly walking away.